All right, take it away, Brittany.
All right, well, I'm so excited to be back. As you guys know, I was gone for the last month because we had our first child. So at the end, I'll try to grab them and share them with you guys. But I'm really excited to be back and share some recipes that I've been working on and some things that are really great for the summer that are easy. So the first one we're going to make is the tomato cucumber salad. And I love this because it kind of marinates. You can keep it in the fridge. It works really well together. You get a lot of different vegetables and crunch, and it's just very refreshing for how hot, as we were talking about, has been. So I have 4 medium-sized tomatoes that I've cut up. And what's nice about these tomatoes is that when you're cutting them, you'll notice that the juice comes out. And that's really nice too to kind of add to the dressing. So you don't have to worry about like making sure the tomatoes are patted dry. You can just chop them up loosely and add them to the bowl. And then I have 2 large cucumbers that I've chopped ahead of time. So I just have them here that we're just tossing everything into a bowl, which is really nice. Again, you can make this, earlier in the week. I'm gonna be just like snacking on this all throughout the next couple of days, which is nice, both of these recipes. So I love having these on hand. I have half of a red onion that I've chopped. So I also have that here. Now, if you don't want to use a red onion, you can use a different colored onion, totally fine. So we're just tossing everything into a big bowl, all the veggies. And then lastly, you can do half a cup of parsley, or you can do kale or a mix of both. So whatever your grocery store has or whatever you like. I just have some curly kale here today that I've kind of loosely chopped. But again, you can use whatever you'd like for this recipe. Kale's really great. Parsley is really great. Sometimes I like to do a mix of both.
What
If
about
you're
mint? Amy's asking, sorry. What
Oh
about
yeah,
mint?
mint would be good, but I would probably do like a fourth of a cup of mint because it can kind of be overpowering. Same with like cilantro. If you're a big cilantro fan, that could be great in this as well. So I'm just kind of giving that a quick toss. And then now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our dressing. So you'll see that the dressing for the 2 salads are the same, which is really kind of nice. You can massage your kale if you want it to be softer. I don't mind the kale just being roughly chopped because it's gonna sit in this mixture, and especially if you're making this the day before or a few days before, it'll all kind of marinate. So it's up to you. You can massage your kale if you want. If you're not a fan of how like half kale can be, that can help if you're using curly kale, but you can also use like dino kale, any other kale that you'd like. Or we could skip it and just use the parsley. So for the dressing, you'll see the dressings are the same on both recipes, and that's because it's really versatile. We're gonna do 1/4 cup of lemon juice. That equals out to be like one to 2 lemons, depending on your size of lemon. But I also, because I'm cooking so much with lemon juice, and sometimes I don't have fresh lemons, depending on, the season, I like to just get a jar of lemon juice, and it's just lemon juice as the only ingredient, and that way if I have fresh, great. If not, I have it here ready for me. So 1/4 of a cup is going to go in. We're going to do a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Measure that out. If you don't have apple cider vinegar, you also could use like rice vinegar is another great one that I like. But I actually have a new bottle of apple cider vinegar today. A tablespoon of Dijon mustard. We have a Dijon mustard recipe on our YouTube channel, the Drudy family. That is SOS free if you don't want to buy it from the grocery store. So it's up to you. About a tablespoon goes in. We're going to mix that up. And then we're going to add in a clove of garlic that we're going to mince, and also some black pepper, and you can add in some oregano if you want. I really find the oregano makes a big difference, so I always like to add that in. And then this is going to be tossed, and it's going to sit, and it just turns into the best, like freshest summer salad for you guys. We're going to put I like to use some fresh garlic when I can. I'm going to add that in as well. And you're going to see me do this twice because we're going to do it for both recipes. And then I have some black pepper. You can do it to taste. Usually I do like a pretty good amount visually as a pinch. I would say like maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon. And then just a little bit of oregano. as well. And again, I think it makes a big difference having the oregano. So if you're not an oregano fan, though, you can leave it out. Give that a nice little toss as well. And then the Dijon mustard should be all distributed pretty easily. It breaks up. And then that will coat.
Can you use fresh oregano? Claire's asking.
I just use, you can use just dried oregano. You can use fresh oregano. It's whatever you have access to. Most times here, dried is always in our pantry. So that's usually what I have.
Susan said she's making your strawberry arugula salad for a potluck at work tomorrow, and I've made it before and everyone liked it.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's a great summer salad. Like some salads just scream summer, and the strawberry arugula one is one that I always make during this time of year. And then because of the tomato too, it kind of adds to the liquid, so it really coats everything really nice.
Is garlic powder okay if you don't have fresh garlic?
Yeah, and a pinch if you want to use garlic powder, that totally works too. And then this will sit and marinate. And if you can leave it like overnight, it's even better. At least let it sit for like 10 to 15 minutes. I always say for both salads, but if you can make this the night before, I find it just like really makes all the flavors really intense, which is nice. And so this is a good one. Again, you can make, ahead of time and have, and then you can wrap it. And then you have this really beautiful pop of brightness in that flavor. Okay. So really easy. So we're going to do something similar, but a little different than the next one. The next one's a shaved Brussels sprout salad. And if you're not, before being plant-based, I never was really a fan of Brussels sprouts, probably because of the way that I was always given them as a child. They were like always mushy and overcooked. And I don't think I ever had a raw Brussels sprout ever before being plant-based, but they're a cruciferous vegetable. So I was trying to figure out ways of incorporating them besides just like the standard November time for Thanksgiving. And so what I love to do is I love to use, they're just like baby cabbage. And I love cabbage. So, you can just add them to a food processor. I'm going to show you guys up top, or you can slice them with a knife. You don't have to have any gadgets even to do this. And we're just going to make a great summer salad out of it. So I have all of my Brussels sprouts. Just think of it as baby cabbage. It's pretty exactly what it is. And then I have my Vitamix with a food processor attachment, and it has the blade to make it shaved. So we're going to just shave Brussels sprouts really easily. And again, if you don't have this, I've done this with just like a knife really quick. You can chop it up really finely. If you're not a Brussels sprout fan, you could use a different kind of green if you'd like. But again, I like the crunch of a raw Brussels sprout. For me, it screams summer doing it this way as well. And it's just a really fun way to make it. So I always get asked about the model. It's the Ascent series model for Vitamix. I've used it to death. Super easy to have. And I love that it has the little blade in it that you can shave. And we make shredded carrots this way. You could shred apples, so many different things. Potatoes. All right, so I'm gonna give this a good. And you can see how easy it just shreds everything. So really simple. I'm gonna do this really quick. Add all of it to it. All right, super fast. And then to here, we're gonna add it to a bowl. We're gonna build our salad. So again, really, really simple. And this is my favorite way. It gives a nice crunch. I add this to chopped salads all the time because it's just a great way. It's an easy way for me to get in Brussels sprouts. I actually love this. I still make the cooked ones generally around Thanksgiving, but I love this. This is probably my favorite way to eat them. Does anyone else love shredded Brussels sprouts? It's just
Oh,
so
yeah,
easy,
definitely.
ready to go. And then from here, we're going to build our salad. So you can use any kind of dried fruit. I really like to serve, again, probably because I usually have Brussels sprouts around Thanksgiving most. I like to pair them with cranberries. There are cranberries that you can find that are oil-free, that are sugar-free. You just have to look for them in stores, mainly online. I found them, but Honest Cranberry is my favorite brand, and they're just cranberries. And you also can make them yourself if you have a dehydrator and have the time. If you don't want to do cranberries, you can use any other dried fruit. So, you could use dates, you could use apricots, you could use raisins, figs, prunes, whatever you'd like. But it adds a little bit of extra something to this that I think if you left them out, it would lack. So this one is just, let's see, just half a cup. So I'm just gonna toss around half a cup. And these are, I love how like vibrant these are. These are on Amazon, like I said, but they're literally just, but they're very, very light and fluffy and vibrant and flavorful. So I like to toss those in. And then in the same regard, so we have a little bit of sweet. We have our cruciferous veg. I like to add a nut to this. Pine nuts are kind of unexpected, which I really love in this. You generally think pine nuts mainly with like pesto, but it works really well with this. But you also could use walnuts or cashews, or you could leave them out if you have a nut allergy. Just 1/4 cup goes in. Pine nuts are something that I don't have all the time, but I just really love paired with a salad. Again, we're just adding it and tossing it. You could do sunflower seeds or a different kind of seeds if you want to. It's always customizable. And then for this, what I really like to bulk it up is we're going to add some tofu. So I have extra firm tofu. I have a cup of it. I've just, drained the water off the package, measure out a cup in a measuring cup. Tofu is one of those things that you actually can eat right out of the package if you want, because it's already pre-cooked. You don't have to mix this super easy. You don't even have to cook it or anything like that. It's already cooked for you or pasteurized. So we're just going to add in our seasonings and then we're going to crumble it in. So you can kind of think of this, when people have this dish, they sometimes think of it that it looks like feta cheese kind of in a way. But I love it because it adds a lot of like protein to the dish. It makes it really filling. It lets me get in my serving of soy for the day as well. So it's just a really easy kind of hack. And you can flavor this any way you want. In here, I have garlic, onion powder, black pepper, and nutritional yeast. That's kind of my base level. I usually add half a teaspoon of everything and then a teaspoon of nutritional yeast. That's kind of how I like to flavor this, but you can flavor it with Italian seasoning. If you want to make this herbs de Provence, if you make this in the fall, lots of different ways. So I'm going to add in half a teaspoon of onion powder.
Question
This
is is a cup of tofu approximately half a block of tofu?
It's a little bit less than half a block, depending on how big your block is. Sometimes the brands are a little bit different, but almost half of it, I would say. And if you want, like, if you just want to eyeball it and do half of the package, it would totally work as well. It's very relaxed. And then I have some garlic powder. I'm going to do the same, half a teaspoon. We're going to add in black pepper. You could do, I've done half a teaspoon of black pepper. You can go a little bit later if you're not a black pepper fan. Sometimes it has more of a bite than people are used to. My husband, I swear, goes through black pepper like all the time. So we're using it a lot in our house. And then I would double the amount for nutritional yeast, just because I like the flavor. So a whole teaspoon of nutritional yeast. And then that's just crumbled. Everything's in there. You're just going to give it a nice toss with all the seasonings. And then we're going to add that to the dish and we're going to make the same exact dressing. And again, it's better if you let it sit, the longer you can let it sit, the better. But this is just such a nice, like, quick, easy salad to have. And add that. So it's just lightly coated. Make sure you get it all out. And if you can't find extra firm tofu, like firm tofu will also work in a pinch. I've done that, so that's just all in there. And then the different flavors of the crunch of the Brussels sprouts, the nuts, the dried fruit, everything goes so well together. And again, it's just a very nice filling salad that you can have as part of your meal. It's all ready to go. All right, so now we're gonna make that same exact dressing because it goes so well with both of these. So 1/4 of a cup of lemon juice. And it's nice too if you make it the same time because you can just dirty the same bowl for it. You have 2 different options for maybe your 4th of July coming up. That's tomorrow. A tablespoon of your Dijon mustard. Which again, we have 3 different recipes for mustards on our YouTube channel. You can make them yourself. We have a brown mustard, a Dijon mustard, and a yellow mustard. You technically could use any kind of mustard for this. I just really like Dijon for this. We're gonna do a tablespoon of that apple cider vinegar. We're gonna crush a clove of garlic like we did last time. You can also use garlic powder, that's fine, like we mentioned. A little bit of bite of garlic I like for this though. And then again, we're gonna use just some fresh pepper that you can use as much as you'd like to taste. And you're gonna stir it up till that Dijon mustard is really dissolved. And it dissolves way easier than miso. If you're familiar with our stuff with miso, the Dijon mustard dissolves in just a couple minutes. It's not as hard to get all into a nice thin dressing as the miso. You could add miso to both of these recipes, but I find it doesn't really need it because it's such a bright flavor with the lemon juice as well. So a little bit of black pepper. And then we're gonna toss it all in and again, let it sit. If you can let it sit overnight, even better. This is a great one to make the night before. And then you have 2 of your salads already done. So super easy and simple. I just take a minute and really well combined. It's a little easier to see in the tomato salad, like where all the dressing went. This one, it kind of hides in everything. So just really take a minute to kind of stir and combine everything. But you can start to smell how lemony and everything smells. Really nice.
How long do
And
both salads keep in the fridge since they are dressed?
I would say 5 days. Usually even at 5 days, it's still really nice because we're using like more acidy dressing. So it kind of stays longer than, something else you might use. Like besides maybe like if you were making a bean dressing or something like that, those tend to get kind of funny in the fridge longer days. Because this is just lemon juice and apple cider vinegar and some spices mainly, it can stay for pretty long. So I would say about 5 days is best. 7 days you could still eat it. It would be okay. But eat it by day 5. But it smells so good. I'm gonna have a bowl before tonight's over. But yeah, just really 2 really great, easy recipes, and you can wrap them and keep them and take them to a party and everyone will love it. And it's a great way to eat more Brussels sprouts. That was one of my main things is finding that I love shaved Brussels sprouts so much easier than cooking them. And it's so easy to do, especially if you have a food processor. But you can also use.
Awesome, those are gorgeous. Okay, and so you guys have any other questions? I have a few here. Just put them in the Q&A box for me. Brittany, you're gonna have to say, how is motherhood going, please?
Yeah, so motherhood's going great. It's definitely just an adjustment. I think I had a very long labor, and the way that he heated up, my water broke at like 2 a.m. and we had him at 11:33 that same day. And then by the time they get you into your room and stuff, it's like 3 a.m. and stuff. So I think teeing it up with sleep was hard because you're not really getting any. I didn't really sleep in a hospital. And then you come home and, he has to nurse every hour or so at the beginning. So I think besides, I'm now like kind of caught up on the sleep game. That was tough. But other than that, it's been blissful and just loving the new life, and I'll get him at the end to show you guys.
Perfect. Okay. Yes, he's going to be well loved by our community. So, where can we find this recipe video? So it'll be in the Healing Kitchen member link. If you go to drmarbus.com and click on there, and it'll say login, and you should have access there. Suzanne, unless you're coming from Maxime's group, we send those ahead of time for you. And if you don't have them, I'll follow up with Jonathan. He's been slightly distracted with all the festivities coming up in about 3 days. He's getting married. So, all right. Okay, so let me jump to the first question. Jan asked, could you please discuss the advisability / benefits of creatine and red light therapy? Okay, so they can be very beneficial. So let's start with creatine. So first of all, when you think about creatine, people think about muscle performance, recovery. It really kind of enhances muscle performance, especially like those short duration, high intensity, like, weightlifting, things like that. There's, I think, well over 5,000 studies showing the benefit of using creatine. It aids in faster recovery. And I think it's even been helpful for people who have arthritis to actually do some resistance training. Again, the possible potential benefits are neurodegenerative disease, muscular dystrophy, some of those things. It could be helpful with glucose metabolism, because if you think about it, you combine that with exercise and you're building muscle mass, that can absolutely be very helpful. So I am unaware of any significant adverse effects, at least in short-term use in healthy individuals. So red light therapy is also kind of aimed towards that muscle performance. It's been, it has been shown to like reduce fatigue when applied before exercise. It can decrease what they call increasing creatine creatinine kinase levels, which basically shows muscle damage in athletes. So there's something there that's occurring. And other phototherapy has been shown to help with exercise also. For example, time to exhaustion and some things. So especially the red light therapy, I wouldn't know exactly how much, but yeah, I think it could be helpful. At least it's better recovery from exercise-induced muscle damage. So meaning you can recover faster and probably push yourself a little bit harder. Okay, next is Amy's question. Did you have time to research fatty 15 or C15? It's an odd chain fatty acid that is newly discovered essential fat. Is it worthwhile supplementing? I think it's pretty early, but when you think about what the research is showing is that there's benefits on longevity and health span. So what it does is it actually inhibits mTOR, which is an important piece of longevity. Yeah, so there's that piece there. It's comparable to things like metformin used for longevity. It's anti-inflammatory. I mean, I would do some research on where to get good supplements if you wanted to test it out and see if it does improve your cholesterol. I think it's a little early to determine, long-term health benefits versus short-term, but there's interesting things around anti-cancer potential as well, improving your immune system. So yeah, I think it would be an interesting test. I'm all about trying different things, testing. So I thought it was interesting. So Clara has a question for you, Brittany. Not a medical question. Have you been looking at wedding-worthy vegan recipes? Oh, Jonathan, any suggestions for recipes or websites to look at? I haven't. I wrote checks and let Jonathan and his fiance he does all those things. I would have helped if they asked, but she has a very large family. Jonathan has a very small family. So he went out and that family discovered. But any resources there, Brittany, for these lovely events?
Yeah, so I did my baby shower and I didn't cook the food. I made all the desserts for my baby shower, but I outsourced a catering company to do the mains, and we picked things that were like very similar to what people would have not being plant-based. Like we did our chickpea parmesan, which or and a chickpea piccata and things like that, and lasagna and things that were very comforting, because most of the people that came to my baby shower were not plant-based, and it went
Mm,
over really good. I just sent them recipes, the catering companies, and they were able to do it like really no problem. So I have a YouTube video that shows kind of that I filmed of our baby shower, so you might want to watch that to see kind of how they had it structured. But I think, you could definitely do that any scale, really easy. And then, fresh fruit, salads, we did different kinds of dressings. It was much easier than I expected it to be. So I
cool.
definitely do it for a wedding.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I guess they've hired a caterer and I didn't provide any recipes, but apparently they could. So we'll see how this rolls out. Claire says thanks. I'll check it out. Okay. So someone's asking, do you have a recommendation for the brand of creatine? Yes. So the brand of creatine is bulk supplements. It's got the little picture of this orange person on it. If you go to just look on Amazon and type in bulk supplements, creatine monohydrate powder, that would be the one I'd recommend. Becky recently joined Master Metabolism. Welcome. And when's the next group meeting? That will be on the 16th, on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific. Right. And it's in the meetup section in the community. If you go under meetups, you'll see all the dates listed through December. Okay. Let's see here. You guys are a quiet group tonight. Usually I'm like trying to catch up with all the questions. Maybe Brittany, do you have any other things as far as eating healthy while you're under the stress of being a new mother?
Yeah, making easy stuff. So overnight oats have been really easy. We also did some things like we ordered some things from Leafside. So they're a company that does like dehydrated meals, and they kind of have, I feel like people either love them or don't like them. They kind of have in the middle. I found that they were pretty good. I just found that I like could season them how I want. So they're kind of um not plain, but they're very like not spicy or anything like that. So you definitely can just like tweak things with seasonings you have in the pantry, which is really easy. But we loved it. It was made it so easy to just pull one of those out, add water, and then you had like a meal ready. So that was really easy and simple. I just made some things batch made, things that I had frozen that were easy. Having like fresh fruit and things that you can grab are really all the things that I kind of have leaned on during this time. So yeah, just making sure, and then just trying to eat really well, and making sure their meals are balanced and things like that to make me feel my best.
Perfect. Emily says, what are your favorite resources for plant-based diets and kids? Client interested in providing some resources to his wife to help review, encourage her to allow time to transition the family to plant-based. Brittany, do you have things that you think you send people to for that particular thing?
Yeah, I love the book by Brenda Davis. Nourish is really a fantastic book that she talks about like all stages of life that have been really great. There's a couple of different people that are plant-based that have done it, like Plant-Based Juniors is probably the most notorious one. Um, I'm hoping to have some resources soon as well, but I think Dr. Furman also has a book on raising kids plant-based.
Yeah, the
Um,
disease proof your child.
yeah, yeah, so there's definitely things out there for sure. And hopefully there'll be more and more as more and more people do this.
Absolutely. And I think there's the Vegucated Family Table is one as well. There's a book. Um, healthychildren.org. There's a plant-based pediatrician, um, Reshma Shaw. I think that she wrote that with Brenda Davis, the Nourish. And then the plant-based juniors. I think those are great resources for sure. I think it's maybe that's the ones I can think of, but maybe we'll work on some ourselves and from the medical side too. Um, Let's see here. Next question. Leslie says, following a meal, my glucose reading on my CGM will spike in the normal range, then go back down. However, without additional food, it will start to go back up. What could be happening? So there's a few different things. I guess it really depends on time of day and everything. So first of all, you can get kind of delayed gastric emptying. So you get this like the slow movement of food from the stomach to the small intestine. And so as a result, the glucose might be absorbed in the bloodstream and delayed in kind of an uneven manner. You'd have hormonal fluctuations, right? So involving like your insulin and your glucagon, which influence the glucose levels. Your initial spike could be, that insulin spike lowers your glucose, but then subsequent release of glucagon or other like counter regulatory hormones. So I guess it depends also like the rate of speed that it goes up. You also can see the liver glycogen release. So if you're getting up and walking around or you're under stress or something, sometimes you'll see the blood sugars rise. But again, if you notice when you first wake up in the morning, your blood sugar might be a little bit lower, then you get up and it goes up, right? Showering as well. Also early in the morning, there's a thing called dawn phenomenon that refers to kind of that early morning rise in blood glucose due to like the natural changes in hormone levels like cortisol and adrenaline, just getting you ready to move forward. So really it's just a matter of keeping track of what the foods are, what time of day, and just kind of, playing around with the different, it depends also how high it's going. I wouldn't be too alarmed by it. It's pretty common to see it go up and down. Brittany, most of the homemade dressings I've made have a pretty distinct mustard flavor that I don't particularly care for. I usually like sweet and creamy dressings. Any good tips?
Yeah, so she said that she likes sweet, and what was the
Yes. Sweet and creamy.
sweet and creamy? Yeah, so I would definitely just say like leave out the mustard if you're not a fan of the mustard flavor. Sweet and creamy, generally I like to do, you could do something like dates is always a great thing, or even fruit. So making like a strawberry vinaigrette can be really nice and refreshing. Those generally don't have mustard in them. We love to do, or you can add blueberries to a salad dressing even. So don't be afraid to use like fresh fruit, raspberries, or you could use dried fruit if you want as well. And creamy, generally I like to use white beans, or you can do nuts and seeds. So cashews or sunflower seeds are two great options. And those will really bulk up, how creamy things are. So you can kind of play for depending on what you'd like. And you can even do like a little bit of both. So don't be afraid to and it also makes it more nutrient dense if you're like doing, maybe a quarter cup of cashews, a quarter cup of white beans, a quarter cup of sunflower seeds in a big dressing that you're going to keep in your fridge for a couple of days. So yeah, just don't be afraid to kind of like try all the things. Those would be kind of my tips. But we have a raspberry vinaigrette and dressing on our YouTube channel. I'm trying to think of the other ones. I've done Caesar dressings, ranch dressings, Thousand Island dressings, things like that. So there's a lot of different options.
Perfect. I'm gonna jump to the bottom question. Sorry, Deb and Anonymous. I will get to that in a minute, but I just thought kind of since we're in this kind of leaf side question. Carol says we're traveling to Switzerland for 12 days in September. Are the leaf side meals something I could take with me? I'm concerned with what I'm going to eat. Caveat. Valerie says I've been using leaf side and I usually add beans to them, the dinners, or berries to the sweet bowls. They are easy and pretty tasty. And I will just highlight, yes, I think these would be very good. And of course you could chime into Brittany, whatever your thoughts are, but I had a patient who was traveling to rural China and there was no healthy plant-based options for him. So he got leaf side and actually took those with him to China. So you just need hot water, and I would soak them longer than they suggest unless there's some new formulations. But I always found that soaking them or cooking them in the hot water longer than they suggest is, I just found that to be better. It tastes better that way.
Yeah, make sure you have a lid to cover them because it also makes a big difference because you're pretty much like steaming it inside. And if you have the soups, you also can, like the soups generally have more liquid because it's a soup. Even if you make it with the same amount of liquid as like the bowls, then it becomes more of a bowl than a soup. So you can kind of tweak things. They're really like very malleable. But just to show you like the size of them, this is generally like the size they come in. And they also do have SOS free if you're interested in that, but they don't automatically come that way. So if you are going to order and you're interested in it being SOS free, you just have to write in the comments when you put the order in, that's what you want, and then that's what they'll send you. They don't automatically do that though. The ones that they automatically send you do have some salt in them, just as a heads up. But yeah, they're great. I mean, we love them. You can add and make it go way longer by adding some other things to it, or just using them as is. But like this one uses 2 cups of liquid. If I didn't want this to be a soup, I would do, maybe half a cup less, and then it would be a nice thick, more like porridgey kind of meal. So we've done that in the past, like sometimes it's not, especially in like July, you might not want soup per se if it's hot. So that's a nice way of kind of tweaking it to be a little bit less soup-like. But they have smoothies, breakfast bowls, lunch and dinners. I'm not sure if they have dessert. I think they did have a couple like sweet bowls, but we mainly like when you go and order it, once you do it once, the first order I did, I tried them all. And then from the second order, I tweaked it. But I found that for me, the value was mainly like the lunch and dinners versus having like, it's really easy to make smoothies and oatmeal and things like that for us. So having things like that were actually going to be like a lunch and dinner was kind of the best way to spread how much bang for our buck we got.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of food that comes with. I found that I couldn't eat one by itself. It definitely do 2 meals for sure, or split between 2 people. So Deb is asking, what are your tips for eating when traveling and doing a road trip in a week? So I'll have a car and access to grocery stores during travel. Most hotels have a fridge and microwave. You want to share yours first, and I can share.
Yeah, so I love to go camping. So we camp in a little camper, and we have like a little tiny kind of like mini fridge in the camper. And so it's really been interesting to kind of figure out like how much you can fit in there, how long you can make it. And if you don't really have like an oven or anything like that, how do you do it? Some things that I found that are really easy is to get like a bag of salad. You can get like a bag of salad already chopped. And sometimes they do have like the little like inserts of dressings and things. You can discard those. We usually do that and add hummus to it or avocado. That's a really easy way to get in a salad if you don't want to chop it yourself. Other ways too is like, we love to do rolled oats and eat it as cereal. So you can take rolled oats that are, or you can, if you want to soak them, you can get steel cut oats too. But rolled oats, you can just pour like your plant-based milk on top and add berries and flax to it really easily and eat it just literally like cereal. That's something that we do a bunch when we travel. And then other things too that are like nice, easy things to grab. Like usually most grocery stores have fruit, dried fruit, nuts, and seeds. So it's kind of nice. You can just like whip that all together even as a quick like trail mix kind of idea. So those are kind of my tips and tricks for that. If you have access to like a coffee pot, I've seen people do all sorts of things in a coffee pot, like make noodles and all sorts of stuff in it. So you can get really creative. The hotel has a coffee pot as well.
Yeah, and then if you're at Costco or probably Sam's Club as well, but they have these pre-cooked like quinoa brown rice like packages, and they're pretty decent. So you'd see something like that, but I've been known to typically find a grocery store and buy cans of beans, or you can also microwave potatoes or cook them and take them with you. You do the leaf side as well. But they also have Bob's Red Mills has these little 1 serving like little bowls that you can take with you as well, that you just add hot water to, and then add your berries and stuff if you like. So there's lots of different things available nowadays, but yeah, that's the main thing. And if you're in a real pinch and you're just starving, I go to Taco Bell and I ask for basically it's like the cheesy burrito, but I say, okay, you can go in and you just change it, but it's cheaper this way. Instead of the other regular bean burrito, you go to the cheesy burrito, cheaper, black beans and rice, and that's it with the tortilla. And that has tided us over for thousands and thousands of miles across the country. And we're about to go live in an RV full time starting July 16th. So I'll be sharing a lot more for it to you guys. So we'll see how that rolls out. It's all good. Next is someone said they're very sad to hear of the passing of Dr. McDougall. Without being indelicate, is there any information about the cause of death? He died at a relatively young age. So he was 77. And just so one, I am not aware, the family said that he just passed in his sleep. I don't believe it was expected. But just so you're aware, he did have a massive stroke at the age of 18. So he went on to live 6 more decades. So I think given how he started out in life and finding his path to a plant-based diet probably allowed him to live as long as he did. So as far as other health issues, I'm not aware of any at that time, but yeah, that's all I know. I don't know, Brittany, if you've heard anything through the grapevine.
I haven't. The only thing I have seen a lot of people like just question, because I think when something like this happens 10 times, we like want to put like, oh, is it the lifestyle or something, and there's so many different factors too that go into health besides just what you eat. And even just living in this world with pollution and different factors. So like, as much as I think we all want to have like a reason why, just to think that there's like such multifaceted that, we all pick to live this way and do this way and work to live like, you're making an effort, to come to this class, you're making an effort to eat healthy. It's work that you're putting in to get return. And the return is for us to live as long as possible, but we all unfortunately have that expiration date that we don't know. So that's just my little two-piece on it, that I think that it was wonderful how healthy he was, and how much he worked and was doing questions and helping people. And I mean, I would love to be like that at 77 as well. I know a lot of 77-year-olds that don't do that. So
Mm.
yeah.
Right. And I think that's a really valid point. And to understand that, yes, we do have an expiration date and death will knock on our door. But the point here is that we live at the highest quality of life, right? So when you see the power of a whole food plant-based diet that's done well, right? Something that's, you're looking at all the different categories, fruits, veggies, beans, whole grains, some nuts and seeds. And you're really honing in on making sure you're getting enough variety of colors and different types of foods, you're going to do really, really well. And again, it doesn't mean that you won't get ill, right? So things can still happen. The plant-based diet is not a panacea, and it's not a check off like, okay, you eat a whole food plant-based diet, you will never have illness or die. Maybe what we would consider an untimely death. And just be aware that there's nobody at fault for death. I mean, we don't know what's happened with him in his long-term health, but again, 77 is above, I think, the average American male, even given his previous experience. But yes, let's look at his life and his legacy and see. I mean, there were so many things. I shared the interview I did with him in 2018. So many people commented how they literally changed his life, or he changed their life because he was introduced to this way of consuming food and understanding that current disease was many times more often than not a decision and lifestyle and habits, right? And so that we could embrace a new way of approaching things. And yeah, so yeah, so all we can do is honor him and thank him for his time. But I would also say stress is a really huge piece here. Not that I'd say that he had significant stress, but he certainly, I think, had more of an emotional trigger than some, but I think you kind of had to be that way in the beginning. If you're the trailblazer, you kind of just gonna have to have that kind of personality. So again, I would say positive attitude, mindset is such an important key, one, the quality of life, but also your health, because remember, those thoughts and feelings, they trigger things in your body, right? So those, you're an energy being before you're a physical being, and they matter. They really matter. So how you're speaking to yourself, how you're interacting with others, if you're complaining, always thinking, life never goes my way, it's going to have an effect. And it's like karmic debt in my sense. Like you gotta rethink literally how you're thinking. So yeah, I think that's the main thing I wanted to share there. Any other thoughts or questions, anybody? We still have like 15 minutes. I don't think we've ever been so quiet. So any other thought? I like, how's breastfeeding going, by the way?
It's going. It's
Going.
a job in itself. So yeah, I mean, it gives you a whole new perspective. Everything about motherhood gives you a whole new perspective about like what your parents did for you, and just how amazing our bodies are. So it's just been a really great experience overall.
Yeah, basically how resilient you are.
Yes. Mm.
This is, I remember Emily, who's 30, she's sitting across here because everybody's here for the wedding. But um, when we got done, because I had a really long pushing labor with her as well. And I think when we were leaving the hospital, I'm like, well, they're allowing me to leave with this little person. What do I know about raising a baby? And you learn, you do what you got to do. I mean, there were so many laughs and tears those first few weeks because you're just like, I'm in pain, I'm tired, I don't know. There are some great stories I still
They
like to
changed
share.
so much. It's like amazing to just see like how like day to day things are like different than the day before. And
Mm.
yeah, so I mean it'll be different next week and everything. So yeah, it's just been really I you just about you see children. I was a teacher for 10 years. I taught young kids. I babysat it, but it's much different when it's like your own and you're responsible for everything.
And you
But
may be doing this already, but I'd encourage you to do like a mother's journal. So I started one when I was pregnant with Emily, and then I wrote about different things whenever I was inspired. I did it for all three kids. And that's really fun to go back and read. Um, Crazy stuff, like their first words, when they rolled, emotions, things like that. But yeah. Oh, here we go. We got another question. Excuse me, guys. So yes, please put any more questions you might have. So Valerie's asking, my daughter's been struggling with heartburn for years, and she's followed all the standards of advice. She is full food plant-based. Do you have any suggestions? She's on Nexium, but it's not working well. Um, so yeah, so first of all, I'm curious how long she's been on that and why they started on that. Was there some anatomical reason, right? This could be a mechanical issue, right? The bottom of the esophagus could have a loose, think of it as like a valve of sort, right? That's not strong. It could be that. She could have a hiatal hernia. So again, I would say, is there a mechanical issue or an anatomic? What else could she do? Maybe avoiding certain trigger foods for the moment until she probably needs to be seen and evaluated with the scope if she's having heartburn beyond using something like Nexium. So like tomatoes could be an issue, citrus, spicy foods, chocolate, caffeinated beverages, carbonated drinks, sometimes high fat foods like avocados and nuts. Um, okay, no mechanical issue in stethoscope. Okay. Um, Sometimes, smaller, more frequent meals could be helpful, and she just might have sensitivity, but I would just play around with the different foods and pay attention what she ate when it occurred. Really making sure she's eating slowly, chewing thoroughly, because sometimes if you eat too quickly, that can cause your stomach to produce excess acid. Should elevate the head of the bed, avoid laying down after eating like 2 to 3 hours, making sure that there's appropriate weight, that she's not, work on weight loss if that's the case. Some other things she could try is ginger. Sometimes can help, like ginger tea or adding fresh ginger to her meals. Aloe vera juice can be soothing sometimes. Um, and again, I think you might want to try licorice root, but there is some concern. I'd be a little bit careful of it. I would like what's it called? Slippery elm can coat the stomach and help protect it from it. As far as again, if the scope was a while back, you might want to have her speak to a GI if it's more recent. Um, Carol said a friend of mine gave me a mint plant. Any ideas what to make with mint? Brittany, any ideas?
I love like you can do like chocolate mint. So if you want to make some ice cream and add some mint to that, I love mint in salads can be really nice. I just generally go like less is more for mint. Sometimes, like I said it earlier, mint can be a little overpowering.
Mhm.
But yeah, you can make some different like sauces with it, uh, different things like that. Trying to think of what else we've used mint for.
I love it on watermelon. Oh my goodness. Like there's something special about fresh mint and watermelon and like strawberries. Oh my, I don't know. So
Yeah,
delicious.
definitely the two go together perfect. So yeah, those are
Mm-hmm.
great ideas.
Absolutely. Um, Deb says, I've enjoyed your menopause videos. You're welcome. My doc never discussed HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy, and thankfully my experience was fairly mild. The lingering challenge is the weight sticks more. Yeah, it slowly chisels off even with a whole food plant-based diet and exercise. Thoughts? So yeah, I think there's a whole nother level when it comes to menopause weight gain that occurs with the lack of estrogen, right? So the body is now storing fat in different places, like the visceral fat. There's a variety of things. I think I did a video on what's actually happening with the decline in estrogen that promotes weight gain. So things you can do that can be very helpful is one is increasing your protein intake, right? So that helps maintain muscle mass and can boost your metabolism. So things like your lentils, chickpeas, tofu, tempeh, stuff like that. Healthy fats, making sure you're getting there. And of course, you're getting plenty of fiber. Exercise, though, I would focus in on the strength training, right? So because that's going to build your muscle mass, make sure it's also going to help um, improve insulin sensitivity, because if you have any insulin resistance, that could be a piece of it. But again, you want to be very consistent. Maybe 3 to 4 times per week would be fantastic. And then, of course, doing some type of cardiac training for cardiovascular health. But if you're running out of, like time or something, you do something like high intensity interval training. But again, any type of cardiovascular help. And you're 63 currently. I would say you're a little bit, might want to consider looking at your thyroid. You're probably past the point where HRT would be effective, or you may not even want to. But yeah, so maybe paying attention, are you overeating or snacking? How's your stress, your sleep, staying well hydrated? But yeah, those would be the main things, and slightly probably needing, I would do low glycemic, high protein foods with a small calorie deficit with uh, with your exercise. Okay. Let's see here. I went on a cruise ship with a wonderful vegan menu. Okay. And whoops. But it was a lot more opportunity to eat often, even though I remain plant-based. I'm having trouble returning to my usual routine prior to the trip. Any suggestions on getting back my act together? Brittany, do you have any suggestions? I have my thoughts, but what is your thoughts?
Well, I do like the Chef AJ kind of like it's in your house, it's in your mouth kind of situations. Sometimes like cleaning up your environment can really help. Depending on if, somebody you live with that's not plant-based, I understand that can be difficult. Or even if you have stuff already that you don't necessarily want to like throw away. But kind of jumping into a routine, I'm a big planner, so I would get out I'm a big like paper and pencil person, so I would get out and write out what I want to have. And that doesn't have to be like all week. I like to do like maybe like 2 to 3 days planning is really well for me. Sometimes if I do like the whole week, it gets kind of overwhelming and then I don't necessarily follow through. So figuring out things like that can really help, and making things that you're like excited to eat again. So, finding a new recipe, or maybe something that you ate on the cruise, but you want something that's like a little, healthier, finding a plant-based recipe for it. So those are kind of my go-tos for getting back on board.
Perfect. Um, and the question was, is there a deep dive workshop this month? Yeah, I didn't really get a chance in June. Things got way crazy for me. But yeah, I have it tentatively planned for July 23rd on hypertension. And I think that'll be a good one. It'll be kind of a revisit to the summit that I did, but of course condensed. Yeah, and Valerie says she wants to make an appointment to discuss more with you. Are you still taking an appointment? Yep. You can just head over to drmarbers.com, and happy to see anybody in any state.
Okay,
All
let me see
right.
if I can get the baby.
Yes, please go get the baby. Yay. Who's ready to see this baby and love on it? I wish we could all just go and schnookums. Like suspenseful. You guys have 4th of July plans? Family, travel? Where we live, the 4th of July fireworks was literally down the hill, and you can see them setting up and flat.
Ethan.
So
Yeah.
adorable. Look how cute he is. There we go.
Very
Gallery. Oh my gosh, he's so darn cute.
lovely.
Yeah. So do you call him PJ or Paul?
So, yeah.
Both.
He's also Bubba. He's like a million nicknames, you know. But
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll get a million more.
Oh, my daughter Emily, when she was there was a young little girl that we would go to church with, and she couldn't say Emily, so she said Mimi, and literally
Oh,
that turned into Emily's name. So I call her Mimi all the time. Oh, I went to an art festival. That's what that is. Could they stamp me? But oh, how cute. Oh, congratulations. So precious.
yeah. And our
Yeah.
bedtime got moved up way early, so now I go to sleep super early now.
Oh, bless your heart. And you actually went into labor the night that of the last Healing Kitchen you were on, right?
Yeah, it was really funny. I just got cleaned up from the healing kitchen. I think I went to bed at like midnight, and then at 2 a.m. my water broke. So it was not a lot of sleep, but we had some of the food left over from the healing kitchen like when we got home. It was really funny. I was like,
Oh,
oh, I prepped without even knowing.
no. Yeah, everyone was like, holy moly, she literally was working till the last minute.
Right?
Oh, well, congratulations, everyone's saying. It's so
Thank you.
lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We look forward to having him join the cooking love of cooking too.
Yeah, as he continues to grow, and just imagine him sitting up there and trying some of our food. Oh my gosh.
Not really lucky. Our pediatrician is plant-based, so we were
Oh,
today talking about tofu and lentils and everything.
oh, what's your pediatrician's name?
Keith Summers.
Keith Summers in Pittsburgh.
Or, yeah,
Awesome. That's fantastic. He found someone. Susan's asking how much did he weigh at birth?
he was 7 pounds 1 ounce.
Now tell him how much he weighs now.
He weighs 11 pounds, 11.6 pounds.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot in 6 weeks.
That is a well-nourished plant-based
Yeah.
baby. He's almost double his weight. Oh, no,
Right?
he's 2/3.
Every time we pick him up, like I just like I'm gonna have to like do tons of arm workouts just to like carry this kids because the car seat and everything is a
Oh,
lot. So
they
I
will
already,
be your workout.
yeah, it's got cleared to work out today. So I'm excited to get back into it.
Oh, bless your heart. Oh, goodness. Um, well, I know you're tired and everyone says precious and congratulations, but thank you everyone. We have a few minutes. Any other final questions or statements, or we'll let poor Brittany go and rest. Um, all right. Well, have a happy and safe 4th of July, everybody. And if you're traveling, safe travels and enjoy your family and time off and celebration. Yeah. Anything else, Brittany, you want to say?
Thank you guys. I'm excited to be back, and I will see you guys next Wednesday with some new recipes as well. And if you guys
Um,
do make recipes, make sure you send us pictures of them.
yes, please do. Put them on social media and tag Brittany and I, or put them in the Facebook group. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.